proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. You be prepared, you're going to do what you need to do when that moment comes. If you ain't prepared for that moment, you're just going to squander it. There's just those things that you got to live by on a day-to-day basis to get through life and just be prepared at all times. Stay humble, stay grounded, and be prepared, man, and stay prayed up. It's the biggest thing. And just always be ready for your next opportunity and run through it and fly through it whenever that opportunity presents itself. To be honest with you, it's just about, are you going to put the time and work in and just get better at your craft and be ready when your numbers call and take advantage of the opportunity.
Welcome back to another episode of the DJ Henderson Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Henderson, and this is Season 4, Episode 7. This episode features Coach Daniel Harris. Daniel is a Tampa Florida native and is someone I've known pretty much my whole life. He's currently my assistant coach at Davis Elkins College. Before venturing into coaching, Daniel played high school ball at Sickles High School. After an illustrious career at Sickles, he took the JUCO route and attended Hillsborough Community College. After 2 years of JUCO ball, he transferred to the Division I level and finished his college basketball career at Quinnipiac University. On this episode, you'll hear about Daniel's upbringing, how he calculated his moves during his playing career for after his career, and how he got to where he is currently. If you're new to the show and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on the show. If you're tuned in through the audio experience, make sure you leave a review, a 5-star rating, and subscribe to the show. Coach Daniel Harris, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's a long time coming. We supposed to do this a long time ago, but I'm good to be on here.
Very long time ago. Sometimes I just don't follow up right away. I've been had you on the radar for a while since I started, really. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on here, being a part of this. It means a lot to me for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Coach Dan, family friend, long time. I recently interviewed your sister, Christina, Duke softball, doing big things. Talk to me about your upbringing in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, our family is very close-knit. As you know, we've known each other since, you were in preschool and I was in elementary school, but we're really tight. We support each other. I went to Sickles High School over in Citrus Park, over in Tampa, and I enjoyed it. I had really good support from my mom and my dad and my sister and my brother and just our whole entire family. I think that's important when you talk about having that family support, and a lot of people don't have that. So I'm definitely blessed and just honored to have people that want to see me do good. And that's why I try my best every day to carry myself the right way and to honor my family and to honor the people that have paved the way for me, and continue to do that for my little brother and for my sister now.
For sure. That's definitely what I want to talk about next. You got 2 younger siblings, younger brother and younger sister. I got 2 younger brothers also. I think about it a lot, just setting a good example for my brothers and being the best that I can be so they have a high bar to see and to reach for. Talk to me about just being a good influence on your younger siblings.
Well, first I want to say it really comes from my father. He always told us he wants us to be better than he had it or just be better than him. And that's where it all starts. And that's how we were raised. And, being a student athlete and being, in the coaching world and playing basketball, it's just conducting myself the right way because I know how I conduct myself and how I present myself to others directly affects my siblings and their upbringing. And my sister's done a fantastic job as well when she went to Berkeley, and my brother was lucky enough to go to Berkeley as well, just because of how she carried herself and through her talents and in the classroom. So it's important that it's not about you, even though you're going through life and you might feel like there's some ups and downs, but you got to always understand that there's other people watching and it's not about you, especially when you want to do good things for your family and make sure that you represent yourself the correct way. And like I said, it's just, and it's good to see when you do the right things. And like for me, it's my sister and just the positive stuff that she's doing at Duke now. It's more, it's very gratifying for real, just to see her do what she's doing just because I helped pave the way. It's really, really gratifying.
For sure. I think just like being away from my brothers, I feel bad a lot of the time. Like when I was younger, I didn't really think about it, like just being in college, being away from them. But like when I go home, I always like just feel like happy just to see them doing their thing, playing sports, doing good in school, stuff like that. I feel like I'm missing so much of like what they got to see me do. And I wish I was closer to them. But I also feel like it's just always bigger than you. Like if you keep that mindset, that's really important. Just knowing that somebody's always watching, like you said, just that mentality, it always leaves you in a good place. Leaves you in a good place, and then also leads your siblings and anybody else that's looking up to you to a good situation as well.
Yeah, and honestly, like when I left, me and my sister, we always bickered and fought. That's just how the sibling world is as you guys are growing up, through middle school, high school. But once I left, we got so much closer because we love each other. We want to see each other do well. But when you're away, you're like, dang, like I'm not with my family every single day. And it's so special. The bonds that we have now that, I'm graduated. Now she's about to graduate soon. And now, my little brother is about to graduate from high school soon. So we've all gotten so much closer, now being apart, you got to stay close knit. And, this world is sometimes not always kind to you, but if you have that family just to always lean on, that's really, really important, man, just to get through life and just the different situations that life brings, and throws at you. It's good to have that support system for sure.
Talk to me about your intro to basketball. How did you get started playing basketball?
Yeah. I started playing probably when I was like 2 years old. I feel old, but I watched Michael Jordan and the old tapes of, and my grandfather put a ball in my hand and we had like these little hoops. And I would run up and down the living room in like these 2 mini hoops, pretend like I'm in the NBA. And so I've loved basketball since I can remember. And it just kind of grew from there. When we ended up moving to Tampa, I started playing a lot of ball over in St. Pete. The talent level is just really, really good athletes, good talent. And my game grew from there when I was young. I just love the competitiveness of it. And it was fun. And my dad has always been my supporter there. And he played in high school and has taught me so much stuff, from the basics, fundamental shooting that I've carried over all the way through my playing days. And, it's always been there, and basketball is still a part of my life. It hasn't changed. I felt like if I was out of it, I don't know what I would do without basketball. So it's like I said, I love it. And I love doing what I'm doing now. And I loved it when I was playing.
For sure. You definitely had it going on. I had a mini hoop too in the crib, but I ain't have 2 of them. That's kind of.
Yeah. I had the full court joint, man. You put it on the high end, try and dunk and go full court. I know I've got a lot of old scrapes on my bodies from falling around, playing around, but man, it was really fun. And like I said, and I was blessed enough to have the room and the space to do all that stuff and just grow to love the game, man.
For sure. I remember when I first kind of started getting into basketball, my dad got me a hoop, a little portable hoop you put outside, a real basket or a real hoop. And At first I just had the regular net. I remember I had a red, white, and blue net when I first started playing, and then I wanted to change it. We got the chain net. Everybody on the street, all my friends used to want to come hoop at the crib. We had the chain net, make the sound when you make a shot. So yeah, definitely. I remember those are really the most fun when you first started playing basketball, young AAU days for sure.
Yep.
When did you feel like you started to take the game seriously, that you wanted to do something farther with it, that you wanted to do more than just have fun?
Honestly, it was going into my freshman year of high school. Sickles High School had a really, really good tradition of basketball. Coach Garcia was the head coach there. And my 8th grade year, I went to a lot of Sickles games, and I was just so impressed of how Coach Garcia ran his program. And I wanted to be a part of that tradition, to be honest with you. And at that time, it was all about going to a good high school to play at a high level. and that's where it kind of took off. And that's really, I credit, Coach Garcia for teaching me so much stuff from a basketball perspective. And I just loved it. And I had a really, really good mentor my freshman year. We ended up going to states, and I had Jordan Davis was our point guard at the time. And, right the year before I got there, John Henson was there. So, but my freshman year, Jordan Davis and Rashawn Rimbert were really, really good players. And I looked up to those guys a lot, man. And they got recruited for, to go to play at Monmouth or ETSU. And it was just like, dang, I really want to be there. And I knew how hard they worked. And I was in the right system, in the right place with Coach to be able to make that possible. So I would probably say 8th grade years when I really, really was like, man, I really think I can do this. And I knew I had the talent, and I knew I had the support system to really to get to my goal.
For sure. Coach Garcia, he's a real deal. Definitely high-level coach. He coaches at Berkeley. He coached my brother last year. My brother, he plays a little bit of basketball, not his main thing, but he still plays. Right. Coach Garcia, he's a real deal. Very good coach, very good guy. I remember coming to some of those games probably with you guys, with your family, watching Jordan Davis. He coaches at Gaither now. That's pretty cool to see him. I remember him being real good for sure. John Henson, I remember coming to some of those games when he was in high school. Like, Sickles always had a really rich basketball tradition. So I kind of feel that I kind of was on the same kind of path when it was my turn to come to high school, just choosing Wharton High School, kind of pretty much the same thing, different coaches, different sides of town, but another rich basketball tradition, winning tradition. So for sure, I kind of feel that. I definitely, just looking back, I'm kind of almost the same as you. I'm not to the point where I'm coaching yet. I'm still playing, but my high school coach, Coach Tonelli, he means a whole lot to me. He taught me a lot about the game. He always used to talk to me about being a coach, and I just never really wanted to hear you talk to me about coaching before. I feel like I'm just in the phase right now. I'm not really trying to worry about it too much, but I definitely think I could be a coach. I think he instilled a lot of the game in me, just about winning, just being tough, your IQ. I feel like my basketball IQ grew a lot just being there, and I feel like it's carried over to now. Back then, I just assumed he was being real tough on us, and just he wanted things just to be done so structured and this and that. I just thought it was just over the top sometimes. But looking back, once I got to college, we were pretty much just practicing just like a college practices. Everything's on time. He got a paper with the times, what he wants to go over. Everything just moving with pace. I feel like without him, I probably wouldn't be at this level of basketball or even playing basketball, maybe still to this point, because I see the bigger picture and just see kind of how plays develop. Just a whole bunch of stuff. He taught me a lot. So I feel pretty similar to you in that sense.
Yeah, and Tonelli coached at South Florida as an assistant, so he has some definitely a lot of wisdom. I love Tonelli. Tonelli has been a good friend of mine, and especially now I'm in coaching. He was tough. He had really, really good teams. Wharton was always tough to play. They ran really good systems, had really good players, and Tonelli definitely should be a Hall of Fame coach, at least in Hillsborough County, because he's had a really, really good teams and ran a really good program.
For sure. He hasn't had a losing program since the school opened. So, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what else he could do to deserve to be in Hall of Fame.
He got to catch Garcia with a state title. That's all he's got to do.
Yeah. I know he might be to the point where he's not really too much worried about it no more. He's been coaching a while, but yeah, I definitely think he had a Final Four team. I know he probably thinks about that all the time. Coach T is a winner for sure. So, yeah. Yep. We talked about Coach Garcia, his influence on you. What were you able to accomplish in your years at Sickles on the court?
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to, like I said, play varsity my freshman year, and then was a starter the rest of my 3 years there. And we won a lot of games, a lot of district championships, going to the state playoffs, playing in the regional playoffs. And it was fun. My junior year, a lot of highs and lows. Ended up getting hurt my junior year. We had a really, really, really good team. And just, I didn't end up finishing that year off. And then my senior year, we had another really good team and ended up losing to some boys in Largo that they were really good and athletic. But overall, it was fun. We accomplished so much. The fun part about it, my brother goes to Sickles now, and to just go back and to see all the banners, the trophies, it's amazing. And it's like that stuff is always going to be sketched in history, no matter if it's 50 years from now, 75, even 100 years from now. That stuff is always going to be there. And to be able to see that, and and it's cool. I'm sure it's a little pressure for my brother to say, "Dang, my bigger brother's on the walls," or have these banners and these trophies. But it's just to join that tradition is like no other, and it's something that a lot of kids just don't get. And I was blessed, and anybody that came through that program was blessed. So we definitely had a lot of winning, and I was the spearheaded for those, the spearhead leader for 2 years, especially my junior and senior year. And sometimes I feel like we came up a little short, out of those 2 years, but it was fun, and that's all that matters. And we made a lot of memories, man.
For sure. If you're new to the show and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on the show. If you're tuned in through the audio experience, make sure you leave a review, a 5-star rating, and subscribe to the show. You talked about your brother. He's at Sickles right now. His head coach was my JV coach for 2 years, Coach Weaving. He came from Wharton.
Yep.
JV Coach JV at Wharton. You're gonna go undefeated, get you a good little job. Shout out to Coach Weaving. Also Coach T, Coach Garcia, all the coaches we mentioned before. But yeah, Coach Weaving, he's a pretty good coach. He's a real good coach. He did a lot for me as well. He came, he was new to our school. He coached Grayson Allen like a little bit right before he got to our school. Yep. So he's a pretty good coach. I definitely mess with Coach Weaving for sure. I hope he's able to build his own program behind what Coach Garcia was able to do, what guys like you, Jordan Davis, John Henson, all those kind of guys. I hope he's able to do something serious at Sickles too.
Yep. And he will. He's a really good coach, and I've talked with him a lot, and he's done a really good job. And the thing about high school is, talent comes and goes, but as long as you have a good program, you do the things the right way, you're going to win. And he's done that. He's had some really good players as well. And I've talked to him a lot, and he's a really good coach, and Sickles couldn't be in better hands for the next few years that he's there.
For sure. We talked about high school ball. What was your AAU experience like when you got older? Just talk to me about your travel ball team, some of the good players you played with, and what it was like overall.
Yeah. So my freshman year, I played with Florida Elite. We had some really good, really, really good teams. Good players, I should say. We ended up, a lot of USSSA tournaments, national championship stuff. We traveled, to Indianapolis, Kentucky, played, some really, really good competition. But they ended up disbanding that team. And then I didn't really play. I played on some low-level teams, some, local teams my sophomore and junior year. And then my senior year, I was able to play with SEBA Select. And we had another really good, group of kids and players like CJ McGill, who else was on it? Jack Hollins, Malcolm Johnson was on that team. We had some really Troy Holston was on that team as well. So we had fun, and just to be able to play with some really, really good talented players got my game better. And just to play those high level guys. And even I played AAU when I was in 4th and 5th grade, and I was playing Casey Hill and, the Harrison twins, those guys that went to Kentucky. So to see those dudes, make it to that level when we were in college, it was just amazing. Just to say, dang, I played some of these guys, or even guys that are in the NBA now. And just say I competed against those guys on every summer. And it's fun. Like AAU is so special. When it's done right, when you're competing, you're playing against good competition, getting seen in front of college coaches. There's coaches out there that, that coach their team the right way. It can be a really, really special thing. And you just get to meet so many different people that people you would never think you'll meet and get to know so many different people. I think basketball, when you think about it, it's such a small world. I probably 2 or 3 years ago, I'm sitting here, with some guys when I was a G at Jacksonville, talking about, man, oh, do you know this guy? Yeah, I know this guy. I was playing against him, or we was on this team and this team, and just the basketball world is so small, but just how it connects everybody, I think AAU it's amazing.
For sure. First, I want to say shout out to CJ McGill. That's a Wharton legend. That's the
It
big
is.
bro.
He is a Wharton legend.
Wharton legend. Y'all, hey, if you tuned into this, I'm gonna link CJ Instagram down below. He got a clothing brand he just started. Y'all tap in with CJ. Go follow CJ McGill.
Yes.
That's the big bro.
That man gave me 24 points on my senior night, and I remember that it was he's a bucket. Really, really good player, and fast as all get out. Had a crazy hezzy and a crazy jump shot.
Definitely, for sure. Shout out to him. But like you said, AAU ball, I think that's the most fun that I ever had playing basketball. Like college is it's more serious, a little bit more pressure just being in a program. AAU ball, like you just really just hanging out with your friends, playing with a bunch of usually players around your level, just good players, and playing against other good players. Like you said, you get to meet people you never would have met before, playing against good players, playing against people from all over the country. It's really as good as it gets. And like you said, it's real cool and real fun when it's done right. I think it's real delicate. I think a lot of times it can go wrong for sure. I've seen it a lot of times. I'm sure you've seen it a lot of times too. But when things are done right and people are coached well and you got good players and just having a good time, really just it could be real fun. And I think that's the most fun that I can remember from being a kid all the way up until my last couple AAU seasons. Is the most fun I had playing basketball for sure.
Yep.
So after high school, you ended up going the JUCO route. You decided to go to HCC in the hometown. Talk to me about deciding on going to HCC and being a JUCO product.
Yeah, it's funny. So my recruitment out of high school was kind of crazy. My junior year, I had some interest from Jacksonville fam. Some mid-major level, low level Division I's. I got hurt. And I was out for about 3-4 months. And then, that summer going into your senior year is so important from an AAU perspective. And I didn't perform well. I was still worried about my knee, and I didn't have a great summer. And, we had a decent, once got to high school, we had, a decent year or whatever. And, I'm graduating, and, I had Eckerd, that kind of fell through at the last minute. And I was getting recruited to D3, and I was like, I really don't know if I want to go to Pennsylvania. And I was like, man, I'm just going to just go to school. I was going to hang up basketball and go to FAM. Both my parents went to FAM. I was like, well, I'm just going to go to FAM and enjoy it. And, Coach Garcia, and he's like, man, just go to HCC and go play pickup or something. And I said, yeah, I'll go. And, I played, had a good showing, played well, shot the ball well. And Coach Worlds, who was the head coach at the time at HCC, was there. And he's like, you want a scholarship? I was like, yeah, I'll take the scholarship. Why not? I'll be at home. And so, yeah, my recruitment at HCC was done at pickup at HCC. And that's all God being God and just putting me in the right positions and him putting in opening doors that I never thought was open. I didn't know anything about JUCO, absolutely nothing. And it was just God putting him in position to be successful. And Coach Worlds and I call him today, he's like my second father, honestly. I talked to him so much, and he gave me the opportunity to be where I'm at right now today. If he didn't see me play at pickup, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So my recruitment was crazy out of high school. It wasn't traditional, nor is it ever traditional. And this, it's never traditional. It just, God opening doors, and you just got to walk through them.
For sure. I keep saying a lot of the stuff I didn't know it was this similar. I had a similar experience my last AAU season. I missed both of the live periods, April and July, with injuries. So a lot of the D1 interests that I had, it kind of went away, same kind of thing. So I definitely get it for sure. It's definitely about just seeing your blessings, even though you might not see them the way that you want them to be seen. So yeah, I definitely feel that for sure. What was it like just going through the JUCO seasons, and what was your experience like overall there?
Yeah, so JUCO is my JUCO experience was exactly how you see it on Last Chance U, how I felt. And I met some really cool dudes. I have really good friends on those teams that I stay in contact with. But my first year, it was eye opening. Living in Citrus Park, it's not the roughest place. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm from the hood. No, I'm out in the suburban white area with all the PWI high school. And it was a little bit of a culture shock coming from HEC, going to HEC, because you got guys from all over Tampa, all over the country that have different personalities, different backgrounds, and just different people. And I was exposed to all that my first year. And I grew up a lot. And granted, I lived at home, but just to interact with guys, to see where they came from and how they interact with people, it was fun, but it was challenging. And we weren't very good, honestly. We had a lot of tension on our team, and guys doing things they weren't supposed to be doing, and we just weren't a good basketball team. And I ended up getting hurt my freshman year. And again, this is back to God being God, open up another door where you don't think he's opened up a door. And I ended up getting hurt and didn't play the rest of it was like 5 games in, and didn't play the rest of my freshman year. And what ended up happening was I tore up my shooting hand, and I had some ligaments torn in my pinky. So I couldn't shoot for about like 4 or 5 months. And I had to learn how to reshoot, how to dribble. And in that process, my left hand got extremely better. But I put the work in, all the way from May all the way into August, 2-a-days, waking up at 5:45 in the morning to go work out with one of our assistants at 6, go to class, come back at like 2, work out again, probably pick up at like 7. I had an on-campus job that I was doing. So that summer is where I saw my growth from a basketball perspective. I grew so much, but also from being a productive person in society, and finding my will and my desire in those few months over the summer. Like I said, I worked, and I never worked that hard, honestly, at my game or at anything. And that was just, again, God putting me in a place. Okay, you're hurt. Now, what are you going to do about it? With adversity, how are you going to handle adversity? And honestly, I responded. And if I didn't get hurt, honestly, and again, it's another thing, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now, because I probably wouldn't have worked as hard. I would just skated by through those summer months. And because I put in that work, I was lucky enough to have some opportunities later in my JUCO career, from Division I offers and things of that nature. Those doors opened up because, one, the circumstance that happened, but also me changing my mindset of, okay, this is what I want to do. And honestly, it was one of the best things that happened to me. And, Coach Worlds was, and this is another thing, like, I got hurt and I became basically a student manager. I became another assistant. And that's where I really fell in love with coaching, to be honest with you. I was doing stats. I was sitting in coaches' meetings and all that stuff, during the season of my freshman year. And I was like, man, this is fun. And then once I got the taste of the coaching world, I was like, okay, let me get on the floor and be a coach on the floor. And then let me do this and this. But it all really just grew from there. And JUCO is exactly my JUCO experience, like I said, is exactly what people kind of picture it. It's kind of rough. It's not typical. You're not going to get all the gear. You're not going to get all the, the nice things. And you just it toughens you up real quick. And I needed that, to be quite honest with you. And I appreciate every moment I had at HEC.
For sure. I think that's definitely what's made me just the person and the player I am. Like, I'm not going to say I'm the toughest person. Like, everybody could be tougher, like, as far as just being on the court and stuff. But junior college, number one, and just being injured, like, I feel like a lot of stuff doesn't really faze me. That phases, like, my teammates or just other people. Like, you talk to us about adversity all the time, and we talk about just being up and down and stuff like that. I feel like just being hurt and going through JUCO, like, I feel like I could deal with pretty much anything. I always just try to take the mentality of like, not the victim, like the opposite of the victim mentality. And I feel like that's what helps me. Like when we got to do conditioning, it's just got to get it done. Or like we always talk about, like you get to do it. Like I feel like just your mentality, your mindset, just being injured in JUCO, that's kind of two of the toughest things you really could go through as far as sports wise. So I feel like that's definitely played a major part in my development as a player and as a person off the court too. Like I kind of just shy away from like just playing the victim, just not doing, like I always try to do the hard, like make the tough decision. That's something I tell myself, like do what's hard, not what's easy, because most of the time the easy decision isn't going to get you where you want to be. So for sure, I definitely feel that JUCO it's not always like last chance U, but it's for sure a lot like it. If you're not a good program, if you're not a program that's already like established and a winning program, it's pretty much like an AAU showcase a lot of the times. Like once you start losing games and you see like the big picture's kind of out, everybody just does what they kind of have to do in a sense to get to where they want to be. So it's definitely tough. It's not the easiest. It's not for everybody, like they say. You see that all the time. JUCO is not for everybody. It's really not. I definitely had a lot of long nights in JUCO, for sure. So I definitely agree with everything you said there. If you're new to the show and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on the show. If you're tuned in through the audio experience, make sure you leave a review, a 5-star rating, and subscribe to the show. You spent 2 years at HCC. You talked about the discipline that you had working while you were injured, working on your game, getting better. You ended up going D1, signing to play at Quinnipiac. Talk to me about your recruiting process coming out of JUCO and what made you choose Quinnipiac.
Yeah. Like I had mentioned earlier, when I was hurt and I got a taste of that coaching stuff, I knew that's when I found a niche and that I really, really wanted to be a coach. And so I started tailoring my recruitment in such a way that I wanted to set myself up to be in this coaching world. So, I had my recruitment was not ideal, to be quite honest with you. I had an offer after the season to go to Bethune-Cookman. It's funny, I took a visit and I liked it. I love Bethune, I love the HBCU vibe and everything. But something just didn't feel right. It's just when you don't know, when you feel it, you're like, when you know you're at the school you're supposed to be at, you just know. And so I took the visit and ended up going to the JUCO All-American Showcase out in Dallas, and played about 3 games, and I played really well, honestly. And Coach Moore was there. My head coach at Quinnipiac was there and saw me, and they recruited me. My recruitment lasted about 2 weeks. And the craziest thing about it was, and again, this is just God being God, like Bethune-Cookman sent me my NLI on a Monday, and Quinnipiac hadn't offered me yet. And it became a Wednesday when the NLI was going to be nulled by, it was like 5:00 on a Wednesday that it would be expired. And I called one of the assistants who was recruiting me, Coach Eric Eden. And I had told him, I was like, look, if you guys aren't going to offer, it's okay. Like, I understand, but I have this offer on the table and I'm about to lose it. And Coach was like, hold on, let me call Coach Moore and see. And Coach Moore was literally on a connecting flight, 10 minutes between his connecting flight. And Coach was able to get on the phone with him. Was like, hey, what do you want to do with this kid? And they offered me on the spot right then and there. And then I was able to go on a visit to Quinnipiac and commit it. But like, those circumstances don't always happen. Like, that's just God being God, and just him opening up another door, because he knows where I'm supposed to be and what I enjoy and where I wanted to be and where I can be and where I can touch other people. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I went to Quinnipiac, honestly, is because I knew I wanted to get into coaching. And Coach Moore, he was a UConn guy. He was an assistant on Jim Calhoun. And I did my research, and I was like, these guys, their whole staff was connected in the coaching world. They were well known in the coaching world, especially in the Northeast. And that's really why I picked it, to be honest with you. And I wanted to get into coaching, and, facilities were great, and the coaches were great, but I wanted to get into coaching, and that's how my recruitment went. And I basically told Coach Moore when I was on a visit, I was like, I want to get in coaching. So I'll come play for you. I'll play my heart out for you. I'll do whatever you want. But when I graduate, I all I need is just help me get the door. And he did that, and just took that opportunity and ran.
What were you able to accomplish there at Quinnipiac, and what was it like adjusting to that level coming from junior college?
Oh, it was a big time adjustment. I'm not the most athletic, and those guys at that level are crazy athletic. But it's mostly the time demand, to be honest with you. We went starting June. I remember June 4th. Actually, we went July 4th was when I got to Quinnipiac, and it was that summer grind of weightlifting, workouts, and then I stayed, those a week going into the school year, and you're talking about like weightlifting classes, at that level, you got different interviews and community service. Like your time management had to be on point, and that was the biggest thing that I learned. But from a basketball perspective, it was just about staying the course for me, and just getting more athletic. And they recruited me there to be a shooter, to be honest with you. Like I shot the ball at a high clip, and that's what I went to go do. And it was, for me, my junior year, and I don't really tell a lot of people this, but like my first two scrimmages, I didn't play. Like, didn't sniff the floor at all, because I knew I was behind, and I was pissed. But it's because it's the first time I've never not played, and like I'm sitting the bench. But I was like, man, like this is on me. Like I have to be better. And I remember after that scrimmage, I was in the gym every single day, just working on my shot. I knew that's what I came here to do. So I knew I could shoot. If I could shoot and make shots, I'd eventually get on the floor. And I remember even the first day of practice, I got kicked out because I wasn't talking. I wasn't bringing energy. I'm like, dang, like this stuff is hard. Like I'm over here trying my best. I'm breathing hard. And yet you screaming at me and kicking me out of practice because I'm not talking on defense, And so, and honestly, me, that's where I get the talking from. But it was just such a different level. And back to my story about not playing, again, it was just about being ready and taking advantage of the opportunity. Our first game, two of the guards didn't play well. They were turning the ball over, couldn't shoot, couldn't make a shot. Coach just threw me in, and I was prepared. Like I hit a couple of shots. I had like 14 points, hit like 3 threes. It was a close game, ended up losing, but that was my opportunity. And the next game, I played the same thing, hit a couple threes. By game 3, I was starting because I was just ready, and I was able to start the rest of my junior year. I didn't shoot the ball as great my senior year, but I still had fun and just to put that work in. And it was fun, and I enjoyed it. Our teams weren't great. We weren't great from a record perspective, but some of those guys that I met were such good dudes, man. And the guys that I'm really close with are really successful right now. One's playing overseas. Both two of the twins had their own social media and journalist websites, and one's playing overseas, and then one of my other friends on the team is getting married and is coaching. So it was, I wouldn't trade it for the world, to be honest with you. And it was just so much fun. And like I said, it was a lot of work, and it was a big time adjustment. But that at that level, to be honest with you, it's just about, are you going to put the time and work in? And honestly, at any level, are you just going to put the time and work in and just get better at your craft and be ready when your numbers call and take advantage of the opportunity?
We talked about Coach Garcia, his influence on you becoming a coach, and also how you chose Quinnipiac, just looking forward to becoming a coach. But what was it like when you got on the college scene and became a GA at Jacksonville?
Honestly, it's about the details. And when you're in college and you're going through like schoolwork, you don't really think about the details. You just want to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like I got this paper, I just want to get it done, maybe spell check it, whatever. But when I got to as a GA at Jacksonville, it was just like everything had to be precise. And at that level, when you got a whole staff you had one job and you better do your job at a high level, like at an extremely high level. And mostly because like at that level, like the head coach's livelihood is on the line. Those assistant coaches' livelihood is on the line. So like you have to do good, you know, and this coaching world is no joke. Like it's so hard, and it's a hard profession. It's a fun profession, but it's a hard profession. And I learned that as a GA, just how detailed you have to be, how everything has to be, you know, done a certain way. And then even, you know, as I became an ops guy at Lipscomb, and I was the only one doing, like, we only had a head coach, 3 assistants, and I was the ops guy. So I was like literally running the program, and I had to have my stuff on point. Like I had to make sure the coach Acuff, didn't have to worry about it. All he had to do was worry about coaching the team. Here, all I had to do was worry about drawing up the next play or the next out of bounds play. I had to deal all the extra stuff that nobody thought about. You know what I'm saying? So, and which is helped me, which has really helped me become a better coach now, and in the position I'm in now. But it's like I said, this coaching business is so tough, but it's so fun at the same time. Like it's honestly basketball. It's hard to get a scholarship. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get a coaching job, but once you get it, you got to produce and be disciplined.
For sure. Hearing you say that just about being precise just made me think about Coach T. Like the amount of times he just said, "Do shit right," like do it right. I just hear that just when you say that. I hear that all the time. We're at practice when I see, like, obviously I make mistakes too, but like when I see people just like make simple mistakes or like don't follow, like pay attention to details. Like when you guys tell us to do something and then right after somebody doesn't do it, like I feel like I don't do that exact thing that much. Obviously I make mistakes, but like I just hear that so much, like do shit right, do stuff right, don't cut corners, like all those kind of things that he taught me. That's what just rings in my mind consistently. And like you said, I feel like that's major. It's kind of the same, like you said, on the player level. Like if you're not producing, if you're not doing what you were brought there to do, as a college player, like, and as a pro too, like you could just be out of there. Like it's your coach's livelihoods on the line for sure. So I definitely feel that. You talked about getting to Lipscomb. What was it like just going there, being the basketball director of operations, and just doing the stuff that people didn't really see behind the scenes and kind of just making the program go, like you said?
It sucked, honestly, but it was fun, mostly because I enjoyed the people I worked with. But as an ops guy, you're running from, you know, game day ops, help recruiting, you know, managing team travel, anything and everything that people don't see behind the scenes, you know, food, nutrition, you got to talk with academics, you got to do this and that, like it's everything. That part of the job sucks, but it was the people I was with. Coach Acuff, who's going to be a Hall of Fame coach, and I don't care what nobody says, he's such a really, really good coach and a good mentor to me. Was so good to me from a basketball coach, and I learned so much from him. Coach Tyler Murray, Coach Eastrom, and Coach Carroll, who were all my assistants at the time, kind of took me under their wing. Even though I was doing ops stuff, they kind of brought me along and teaching me all the basketball stuff, you know, from offense, defense, you know, how to prepare a scouting report, how to do this, how to recruit, what, you know, how to find kids, how to find players. Like that was what I enjoyed the most about it. The ops stuff, like I said, sucked. But the department and the people I worked for made the job so much easier. I didn't mind getting up at, you know, 7, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning and being there until 10 o'clock at night, because we was working, we was grinding. And our players are really good. Like Lipscomb was really good before we got there. You know, they went to the NIT championship and played against Texas, you know, before that staff left to go to Belmont. But those kids had a winning tradition, and we just kind of came in and just kind of kept it rolling. And it was just so much fun to be with those guys. And honestly, we made it to the conference tournament again the next year. And it was just so much fun to see, to be a part of, and I wouldn't change these last 2 years at Lipscomb for the world. Honestly, I learned so much. I learned more as an ops guy under Coach Acuff than I did probably as a GA, to be quite honest with you. just because of how much they brought me under their wing.
For sure. I definitely think that's important. Like I worked a little summer job this summer, and just having people around that you enjoy working with and also people that you don't enjoy, like you just start to see things are better when you're with the people you like. And it's also the same playing on the court. Like we always talk about camaraderie, and you always hear good teams when they talk about their teams. A lot of the times they like to hang out with each other. They just enjoy being around each other. I think that's something major, because if you like playing with somebody, you're gonna go the extra mile for them. You're gonna do what you got to do for your teammates and your coworkers as well. So I definitely think that's major.
Yep.
If you're new to the show and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on the show. If you're tuned in through the audio experience, make sure you leave a review, a 5-star rating, and subscribe to the show. Left Lipscomb last year, first year, Davis Elkins College, Elkins, West Virginia. Talk to me about how you got here and what it's been like so far.
Yeah. How did I get here? So, and this is going back to, and this is why we talk about the basketball world being so small, but keeping your connections and doing the right things, like we talked about early in the show. At Eckerd, when I was getting recruited at my senior year, I went on a visit to Eckerd College in St. Pete, and my host family, well, not my host family, my host for my visit was Woody Taylor. He was the graduating senior guard, leaving, and I had told him I wanted to get into coaching. But long story short, me and Woody ended up being a GA at Marshall, actually, assistant at Bethune-Cookman, and now is an assistant at UNC Asheville. And we stayed in touch, throughout the years. And this job opened at Davis Elkins with Coach Mondragon, and Coach Mondragon's a Florida guy. And him and Coach Mondragon and Woody were really tight when Coach Mondragon was at DME and Woody was at Bethune-Cookman. They got really tight, and that's just how the connection kind of folded. And I got, Woody got me in contact with Coach Mondragon, and we just completely clicked. And it's been great, honestly. And I talked to you when we talked, getting you up here to Davis Elkins, like it's West Virginia. Like, what is there in West Virginia but just straight Davis Elkins and basketball? But I'm having so much fun at this school. One, because Coach Mondragon pushes me, and we click on a high level. From recruiting to basketball to doing social media, like on all facets of this program, we are really in tune, and that's hard to find, to be honest with you. Like, I've seen some stats where the chemistry on the staff ain't great, and Coach has been fantastic, and he's teaching me stuff that I never thought of, especially coming. He's at a prep school now, at a D2 or whatever. Some things I just never thought of. It's just different levels. So Coach Mondragon has been a big part of why I've enjoyed my time here. And then second is our guys are amazing. Like it's a big difference when you're coaching guys that want to get better and that want to win, and they're just really, really good guys. Like there's nobody on our team that is just a butthole, that just has attitude, that just defies anything that we say, or everybody listens. They say yes, try and say yes or no. So we're still working on it, but they acknowledge it, and they try and do the right thing. So like, no, as a coach, you can't ask for anything better than that. And I think this program is going to really take leaps and bounds, over the next few years, because this group is really, really going to lay the foundation of how this program is going to be ran. And like I said, I honestly don't feel like Elkins, West Virginia is that boring, because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Like we was up at 6 o'clock this morning, 5:30 or 5 o'clock I was up, I haven't been to sleep, and I'm still in the office at 7 o'clock. Like, and I'm still wide awake, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So it's just so much fun, learning, engaging with, people on campus, with the students on campus. It's a big family atmosphere here. And I think it's just something that's really special, that this, as a program, as a basketball program, haven't had success in years. And I think we can have success because you guys, of our players that are bought in. And it really started with the guys that returned: Sam, Breland, Courtney, Brighton. Those guys want to win. And then it also helped when coach brought in JT, Evan, Joao, like really, really good guys that bond together and want to get better. You can't ask for a better recipe for success, to be honest with you.
For sure. Like we've been talking about, basketball world, very small world. I also know Coach Woody Taylor. He recruited my friend, and he recruited me a little piece too to come to Bethune. Definitely, I'm not gonna lie, Coach Woody is probably the best recruiter I ever have talked to in my life. Like he's such a cool guy. Coach Taylor, if you see this, I still rock with you. You're my dog. I appreciate you even recruiting me or talking to me, giving me any kind of conversation, attention at that time for sure. But like you said, I've been enjoying myself here too. It's definitely exceeded my expectations. Definitely a lot better than what I was thinking when I first decided to come here. West Virginia, I thought it was gonna be just, I don't even know, just dirt roads and like really no nothing. I mean, it's not really just the biggest city at all. It's not that much to do. We really could just only focus on us, like just basketball in school. Really is not too much else to do. But I mean, it's not really that bad of a thing, honestly, because that's what we're here to do, just get our education and play basketball. But I definitely think our program, we got a good chance to take a big step this year. I'm pretty sure the way we've been working, we should have a pretty good season, a winning season at least, definitely better than last year and the previous year. So I like how everything's going for sure. You and Coach, you push us. We try to apply what you guys tell us. We're working on just stacking good days. That's what we talk about a lot. So yeah, I definitely think just working on that and just all of us being cool with each other and like actually liking to be around each other, like we just talked about, is definitely important for sure.
And I think when you talk about, we have you, Evan, Sam, me, Coach Von Dragon. Who else is from Brighton's from Florida?
Charleston.
You dang, why are y'all going from Florida to Elkins, West Virginia? It's the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't be no offense to Coach Meyer, you wouldn't probably be up here if it wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew me forever, and you know that I'm going to treat you the right way. Like, Sam understands that Coach is going to treat. Like, Sam understands that Coach will treat Sam the right way. Same with Brighton. Same with all those guys are from Florida, and for whoever might come to Davis Elkins, we're going to push you. We're going to challenge you, but we also going to love on you. And we want you to be better. Like, at the end of the day, it's about getting your degree and then being a good, productive citizen in society. Like, that's all that really matters. But you guys make it fun for us because you guys listen, want to be here, and everybody gets along. So like I said, it's a perfect recipe for success. There is going to be some adversity. There's going to be things like every basketball season, but I'm fully aware and confident that any adversity that comes with this team, you guys are prepared. Me and Coach are prepared, and I'm excited to have a really, really good year for sure.
Definitely. I think that was obviously you being here. That was major, and me coming here, but also just seeing that it was 4 or 5 guys from Florida. Like, I knew it couldn't have been that bad of a place. And I know Florida, like people see, it's a lot that goes on in Florida. Florida is probably the craziest state. So I know if it's 5 people from Florida here, I know that they can manage. And also just Evan, that was definitely him being here is a big reason that I came here playing against him the past couple of years. I knew the level of player he was, and whenever we played, we always competed. So like just having guys from Florida, like you said, and then also just getting here and actually bonding with the new guys from West Virginia, our international guys. Like, I feel like we just got a good group of guys, and I feel like everybody, like you said, is just kind of bought in, and we all have fun just doing what we love to do, playing basketball. I mean, the school part, nobody loves it, but we got to do that too. So yeah, I think everything.
And honestly, I think one of the best parts for me is the international guys. Like, we got 4 or 5 guys that are from other side, across the pond. And just to know their stories, their cultures, and like that's the coolest part about all this. Like at Quinnipiac, we didn't have no internationals. Like it was all Americans. Like for the most part, we were all kind of the same. But when you have those international flavors, it's a cool dynamic that this school has, especially with the soccer team and like all these internationals, you can learn so much from different people. And I think that's a pretty cool concept that Davis Elkins has and our basketball team has.
For sure. That's something I tell people all the time. Like when people check in from home, they ask me how everything's going, what's school like, what's basketball like. I tell them like one of the main things I like about it is that the school, we might have 1,000 people or so, maybe a little bit over that, maybe a little bit less, but 80 to 75, 90, the majority of the people here play sports, they're athletes. So like, I feel like when you walk around, you just see people that are doing the same thing. They're in the same grind. They just left a 6 a.m. workout too, or they're just getting done with practice too. They just got a game. They just finished a game too. Like it's a certain level of respect you have for other people that's in the same grind as you, even though it's different lanes, different sports. So yeah, I think that's one of the things I like about the school for sure. Just knowing that it's people that aren't just students that are doing more than just like not the bare minimum, but like they're being a student athlete, they're grinding schoolwork, sports, like all that kind of stuff is important to me too. So I think that's one of the main things I like about being here as well.
Yep, for sure.
Last segment on the show, I call it crunch time. We know crunch time is when you got to lock in, you got to do what you do, you got to come through for your team. A couple quick questions just to wrap up the show, finish it up. First question is, what advice would you have for somebody that's coming up looking to get into coaching? Like, what would you tell them about the lifestyle, things that they should be wary of, things that they should be ready for?
Yeah. The first thing I would say is don't do it for the money. If you're going to get into coaching for the money, it's not the profession for you. And there's a lot of jobs that pay a lot of money, and especially those Power 5 schools, but there's a lot of jobs that don't, but you got to get in it for the right stuff because you love the game of basketball. You want to make a change or make a difference in players' lives. That's what it's all about. Some advice, honestly, I give the advice that Coach Tom Moore gave me. Don't get married too early because you're going to be traveling, moving all over the place. And you don't want to get stuck. And 2, always keep your head down and just outwork somebody. Like I said, this profession is a dog-eat-dog world. It's hard. There's a lot of people that want to be in it, but as long as you do what you're supposed to do, everything will all work out for you.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I ever received, I would probably say that I mentioned earlier from my dad is just be prepared. Like I said, proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. Like as long as you're prepared in any situation or prepared for every situation, like you will succeed in some type of way. And I truly believe that. And every aspect of my life, have I been the most prepared? Probably not, but I've been prepared. I wish I was more prepared in a lot of situations, but I think that's the biggest thing. That's one thing that I live on is because if you're prepared, you won't stress out as much. You know what I'm saying? Like you won't miss opportunities. You'll take advantage of opportunities if you're prepared at all times. And that's my biggest thing that I took from my dad. And he still tells me that every day. And it sticks with me. And it's something that I think everybody needs to work on. I still need to work on it. And you can never be too prepared.
What's been the biggest obstacle that you've had to face to get to this point?
Biggest obstacle I had to face getting to this point. I wouldn't say this is an obstacle. I think this is more patience. And I want to explain this because at every point in my career, I've had to have patience. Opportunities didn't come when I wanted them to come. And being patient enough to wait for that opportunity to present itself. I think that's an obstacle that a lot of people don't understand. It is an obstacle. If you're not patient, you're going to miss out on an opportunity that could be coming, or you rush into a opportunity that you shouldn't be in, or go through a door that you shouldn't have gone through. And I was just talking to Coach about this. Like I almost rushed into an opportunity that I shouldn't have went into, and luckily I was pulled back and put into another direction. So patience is an obstacle that a lot of us don't understand or don't get. Like be patient find the right fit for you in whatever situation you're in, for your career, your life, or whatever it is. Be patient and just continue to grind and continue to just know that if I'm prepared and I'm patient on the opportunity, it's going to come and I'm going to go the right direction I'm supposed to be going.
Definitely. What's something that a random person wouldn't know about you, but your close friends, your family, they know about you?
Oh, man. I guess I told you guys this in our first meeting. When COVID came, we were working from home, and I found like a new hobby. Like, I didn't realize I liked it, but I'm a big on like stadiums and, architecture, but I like Legos. And all of a sudden I started building like Legos, and through COVID, I built like over 21,000 pieces of Legos. I was building stadiums. So it was just a cool little deal. And I'm actually building one now at the house every once in a while when I'm actually have downtime. But that's something like, it's kind of cool. And again, actually that works on my patience. Like these little pieces that you got to put and follow the instructions, like, and just details. Like it's crazy. Like you just think, okay, details, doing this, patience, until you see that final product, and that is kind of how our team is, like we started off building, and each week putting good days on top of good days, and to finally see the product when the season comes is going to be exciting. But that's kind of how my little unknown fact that not too many people know about me just yet. I'm sure a lot of people will know sooner or later, though.
What's a quote or a motto that you live by? Christina, it was a Bible verse. What's something that you live by that you keep with you at all times, helps you get through your days and keeps you going?
It actually does live with me. It's actually tattooed on me. It's the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This one prayer that my father has instilled in me, and I've kept it. And honestly, it's just about, having the wherewithal of what's right and wrong and what's the right path to go down. You know what I'm saying? And keep your peace of mind. It's such a powerful prayer because a lot of people don't pray for wisdom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, God has to give you the thoughts, the dreams, and the ideas. And he also, I guess, has to give you the wisdom to make the right choices. And a lot of people don't make the right choices. That's true. I know I've not made some right choices in my life, but he's also giving me the wisdom, like, are you going to make this choice or not? Like, this is yes or no. You're going to go down this way or this way. And it's just all about continue to make those choices the best you can, and pray, be prayed up, and then have that support family, like I mentioned earlier in the show.
For sure. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Man, that's a good question. 5 years, hopefully I'm still coaching, man. And I don't know where. I'm not in a rush to try and be at the highest level. I just want to be where I'm comfortable, I'm wanted, and be successful at that level. And as long as if I'm coaching and still engaged in this sport that I love, helping young men, I'm still young, but helping guys get to the next level, either whatever their endeavor is, I think that's so special. And as long as I'm doing that, the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, it doesn't matter. And as long as I keep that at bay or at heart, I know I'll be successful. And like I said, it doesn't matter what level. If I go back down to high school or a small D3 or JUCO, it doesn't matter. Success is categorized how you perceive it, and success is not what people think of you. It's what you think your success is, especially in this industry. So like I said, it doesn't matter what level, but as long as I'm coaching, I'm all game.
Definitely. What's your why? What keeps you going? What motivates you to just keep striving for great things? You've accomplished a good amount of your life. What keeps you going?
This one it's my mom. She had me at an early age, and she sacrificed a crap ton. Basically her whole life, honestly. And my why is to make sure that all those sacrifices that she's done for me to be where I need to be and be successful, including my dad, but for her, she's always in my corner. She's always has my back, no matter what the situation is. And she is my why, because like I said, she sacrificed so much, and I want to be in a position where I give back to her, where hopefully she doesn't have to work, much longer, or do all the things that she's doing to sacrifice for not only me, but now my sister and my brother. That's my why, to be honest with you. And in my family, like I said, they all support me, and they support me. So I want to make sure that I get to where I want to go. That's all they want me to do is, be successful, achieve my dreams. And if I achieve my dreams, that's me paying back to my family and everybody that supports me.
Definitely. Yeah. If you could meet and spend a day with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Dead or alive? 3 people. The first person I would love to meet and be with would be Leonard Hamilton. I'm a Florida State fan, and I love that program and what he's built over his career. He's done a fantastic job at Florida State. He was really good at Miami, and he's done a great job. And I watched him a lot. I would love to pick his brain, to be honest with you, and just to get to know him. And he's, and he has an old soul. He is an old man, but he has an old soul, and kind of how I am. And I love how his program is ran. So it'll be Leonard Hamilton is my first one. This is an interesting question. Never been asked this one.
Crunch time,
the next one, Crunch time. Yeah. The next one I would probably say would be, MJ. Like I said early in the show, he was my idol when I was coming up playing, and just to see how successful he is, not just as a basketball player, but as an entrepreneur, and what he's done for not the game and just business and Black men in general. Like, he's a billionaire, but he's did a lot of work, and he's continued doing a lot of work and still making difference in people's lives. Not just just not on the court, but definitely off the court as well. And the last one, it would probably be my real father. I haven't seen him in so long. Just to spend time with him, catch up. It's, with our dynamic of our family, I'm always busy, to be honest with you. And he's busy with his family, but when I was blessed enough that my dad, my stepdad, technically stepped in my life when I was so young and at 2 years old, but he's still my real dad. And so I would love to meet with him again. And it's been years since we met, and just to sit down and talk. And, he's still my dad, and just to, create a bond at some point.
Definitely. Last question. Whoever you say, you got to plug me in. You got to help me get them. Who do you think I should have on my show next?
Ooh, that's a good question. And I think the best, and I'm gonna shoot you over to, I mentioned them earlier in the show, the Robertson twins, Ace and Andrew Robinson. They play with me at Quinnipiac. And I said one is playing overseas. I think he's in Portugal, and one is doing journalism and doing a lot of NBA analysis and college hoop analysis. I think those are 2 guys that played the game and kind of went a different route than most people. Most guys you don't hear going to journalism. And this is a form of journalism, honestly. And those 2 are really, really good people, really humble people. And honestly, those 2 were the reason I actually got the GA job at Jacksonville, through connections in basketball. So I'll definitely plug you in with those 2, especially Ace. He's really, really good and really, really sharp. Both of them are sharp. And you can pick their brains, especially from a podcast and journalism standpoint.
For sure. Robertson twins, if you see this, I need you to come on the show. Bless me with your presence. Have a good interview. I need that. I want to say before we wrap the show up, I just want to shout out everybody we mentioned on here. We mentioned a lot of important people to us. Mr. Nathia, Mr. Chris, your real dad, Coach Woody, Coach T, Coach Garcia, Christina, Lil Chris, my little brothers, Dame, Dylan, my family. Shout out to everybody that might see this. Dan, where can everybody find you on social media? Any social medias?
I mean, you could follow me on Twitter, Coach Harris 2317. I'm on there quite a bit, or try to be. I'm not a big social media guy, but with this job, I'm on Twitter, so you could follow me on Twitter. I need to get my followers up. I want that blue check mark sooner or later.
That's about it for the show. You got any last words? Anybody watching? Any advice? Anything you want to say before we get off?
No, man, just stay humble, stay grounded, and be prepared, man, and stay prayed up. It's the biggest thing. And just always be ready for your next opportunity and run through it or fly through it whenever that opportunity presents itself.
For sure. Coach Daniel Harris, I appreciate you again. Like I said at the beginning of the show, coming out here, taking the time to do this. It means a lot to me, supporting the show. And see you guys on the next episode. If you're new to the show and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on the show. If you're tuned in through the audio experience, make sure you leave a review, a 5-star rating, and subscribe to the show.